My guests today are a couple who have cleverly combined cosplay and cakes into a craft-centric commerce so cunning, so creative, you'd swear they were conjurers of chaos in the new paranormal. Ladies and gentlemen, ghouls and goblins, please welcome Randy and David of Clark and Dagger. Randy, David, let's begin with a lightning round. Favorite movie?
For me, it's Empire Strikes Back.
Mean Girls.
On Wednesdays, we wear pink, but on Hoth, we wear Tauntaun guts. If you could live inside any Disney Parks attraction, which would you choose?
Spaceship Earth.
I would say Smuggler's Run, because if I could live on the Falcon, that would be great.
What's the most unexpected comment someone's made about one of your cosplay creations?
I get called Captain America all the time, even though I'm Captain Carter. So they always think that I'm just like a gender bent Captain America. That's like the weirdest thing that I've gotten.
Captain Britain.
I get Captain Britain a lot, yeah.
If one of your cakes magically came to life, which one would cause the most chaos?
There was this one that was a 90s cake. It was so ornate. 3 tiers that had columns on it. And it was ripped straight out of Scarface.
Ooh, Scarface!
It was your quintessential 1997 white and red wedding cake.
Would you rather be able to talk to animals or speak every language in the world?
Talk to animals, 100%. No, I want to be able to talk to them.
Speak every language in the world.
How unapologetically opposite. Now, let's start with a haunting introduction. What exactly is Clark and Dagger? And how did this eerie enterprise come to life?
Clark and Dagger is the name of our 3D print shop. It was born in 2020 during the pandemic when we bought our first 3D printer to make cosplay pieces. And then it just kind of blew up into something so much bigger than we thought it was going to be.
And now you're veteran cosplayers. Look at all these wonderful creations.
He's the veteran, not me. I'm the newbie. He brought me into this world for this.
Like, I don't know what the time math on this was, but I started cosplaying in 2003.
Ah, 2003. The golden age of AOL Instant Messenger, blockbuster late fees, the debut of Beyoncé's first solo album, and absolutely no 3D printer in sight.
Yeah, 3D printer wasn't even a twinkle in our eye.
Of course, that all means nothing to me because I'm a ghost and I exist outside the space-time continuum, trapped in a non-linear dimension where past, present, and future collapse into one eternal now. Anyway, continue.
So,
He was a baby.
yeah, I was like in 9th grade, and I went to my first convention dressed as Harry Potter, where I like thrifted like like a gray sweater and just something that remotely even looked like Hogwarts. But it's looking back, it was pretty cringe.
You know what's really cringe? Crying over Snape's redemption arc while sipping lukewarm tea from a Marauder's map mug I bought ironically, but now spiritually depend on. What first bewitched you into crafting custom cake replicas? Was there a particular moment, a spark in the dark, that led you down this deliciously creepy path?
Our business is very strange because it is like part like nerdy cosplay and then half weddings. So I work in the wedding industry. I marry people for a living. That's what I do. I get to marry people. So I have been in the wedding industry for a little bit. We started making cake toppers for people because there was a market for it. They wanted something that didn't exist and we could make it. And so David is a really talented painter. So on top of, just printing things, he's really good at that intricate paint jobs that people want and all of that. So anyway, we had been making some cake toppers and a potential client came to us and she's like, I have this really weird idea. She's like, I don't know if you can do this or not, but I loved my wedding cake. My wedding cake was so cool. I absolutely loved it. But all I have left are photos of it. Do you think you could make me like a little ornament, that looks like it? So I went to him and I was like, can we do this?
Can we?
And he's like, I think so. And we did it. And we made it and sent it out to her. And she loved it and posted everywhere about it. And then next thing we know, I'm seeing photos of wedding cakes like on the daily in the inbox of like, hey, can you make me an ornament? Can you make it bigger? I want like a big one, like 7 or 8 inches to go on the bookshelf. Do you think you could do that? Yep. Sure, absolutely. I mean, there's some things we can't do because when you take something that big and you scale it small, you lose some things. But he made a replica of a 1997 wedding cake. So, I mean, this man can do anything at this point.
Anything? Can you infiltrate a colony of hyper-intelligent squirrels in rural Saskatchewan, gain their trust, learn their dialect of speaks, and slowly rise through their social ranks until you're elected Grand Nutkeeper? Then, and this is key, convince them to unionize. Once their demands are met, teach them synchronized swimming so we can finally launch our squirrel-themed Cirque du Soleil spin-off. Can you do that?
I don't know. Can we do that?
Figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
That's the spirit. Your creations tell stories, some whimsical, some wicked. Whether displayable or wearable, how do you channel storytelling through your art? Do you start with the scare, or let the soul of the piece emerge over time?
So everything always has a story to it. And a lot of it depends on what the product is, but you could always convey story based off color. So based off color palette, you can almost feel the person who's commissioning it, from you. Cakes are a little bit more sentimental because you're typically representing a very important day for them, and you put a pin particle on it and you shrink it down. So you capture that story in that small cake. Whereas a cosplay, typically you want to tell the story of what that prop went through. If it's like a blaster, you know that's going to be weathered up. However, if it's like a gem, you typically want something a little bit more glossy or, like a shiny surface. But it's the small little details that tell the story of what you're making.
Since you love Star Wars so much, have you given your 3D printer a Star Wars name? Is it Princess Leia? So, we've talked about your cosplay, we've talked about your cakes. Now, let's talk about your droids. Ooh, I'm particularly interested in your Elphaba and Glinda droids because they are absolutely adorable and because Wicked 2 will be trending when I release this episode on YouTube, and I'd love to get in on that action. Please, your droids.
Okay, well, we have to talk a little bit about the DU then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So to talk about our custom droids, we have to go back and talk about the Droidsmith Union, which is those are our people.
Okay.
It's actually a Lucasfilm recognized costuming group that we are droidsmiths. And so we have our union numbers and we all have droids. And some of these guys and girls are amazing artists and they do amazing paint jobs on the Mubo Sites droids, like our Elphaba and Glinda.
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
And they are incredibly inspiring, and trying to keep up with them and how amazing they are is a lot.
Have you ever made a droid out of glass? Did you call it C-3PO?
The ideas just keep coming. Like, somebody's always coming up with something new and fun. And we have a kid who is a theater kid. And so we went to go see Wicked. We've seen it in the traveling shows. And then we also saw the movie, obviously multiple times. And David just has this thing where he'll look at a droid and be like, that should be a insert droid here. Like, this should be this character here, right? And so he was sitting there one night and he was staring at our collection of droids because we have a droid rescue here. We have like 15 or 16 droids at this part. We just repaint them and repurpose them. They're amazing. And he was looking at one and he goes, I think Elphaba would be in R6. And then that was it. done. Like he had printed off the sheet with like and like color mapped it out, and then he's looking at paint samples going, what do you think? Should it be this color or that color? And then and I'm like, oh, we're doing this. Oh. And then I was like, okay, well, Glinda should be a BB, right? Because she comes down in a bubble.
Naturally, yes, yes, yes.
That was it. And then it was going to Facebook Marketplace and finding a BB unit. And so we grabbed a BB unit, and it was a lot of painting. And then it was, she needs a hat. She needs a broom. She needs a cape. She needs a crown. The crown needs
Compliments.
embellishments.
Oh, darn, flubbed that one.
And it just took over our lives for a little bit.
What is the metric system's favorite Halloween costume? A skeleton. A scale of 10. Every haunted house has its creaks and groans. What's been the most challenging or surprising curse of turning your passions into a business? Have you ever felt a tug of war between your inner artist and entrepreneur?
Sometimes, you get caught up on deadlines, right? Because you're no longer doing it for you, you're doing it for someone else. So when you just see it as a data point or like a number, sometimes you have to ground yourself and not be callous to this and be like, hey, every prop you make, every ornament, or even like a cake topper or decoration for a wedding, that someone is going to feel that emotion to it on what you make. So it's very important to ground yourself and just be able to kind of put yourself in that object as well.
A police officer accidentally arrested a judge who was dressed like a convict for a costume party. He quickly learned to never book a judge by their cover. Of all your monstrous masterpieces, cake or cosplay, which one still haunts your memories in the best way?
It's Chopper.
Yes, it is Chopper.
It's our full-size droid that was 3D printed and built and completely by him in less than a year for our wedding. He now lives in our living room. It's great.
You didn't just build a droid. You summoned a mechanical deity. Excellent work.
It took every single bit of creativity designing to make it come alive.
Literally.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still a work in progress. Like he will always be being updated, and he will always be getting a fresh coat of paint or whatever, or a new bow tie or something, so he is the best thing that we've made so far.
Randy and David, thank you for shooting the sheet with me today.
Awesome. Thank you.
My friends, I must ghost you for now. Until next time, goodbye.